Writing has been my saving grace since I was a child. I started to tap into my creativity and my vision. I had an awakening on a very, very deep cellular level, like cellular. Or I've since learned that the universe provides when you open yourself to abundance, that it
Mm.
will trigger something that must come up from the subconscious. It's not just a message for others and what I've been through. It's a message for me. I find myself going back several times looking at my work.
Hi there, I'm April Paige, breaking down the what, when, where, and how creatives get their inspiration. I'm a big fan of the cursey words, and I've been a creative for 30 plus years in marketing and fine art. This is where creatives unite to break down the facts of creative life. Buckle up, let's get lost in the world of creativity together. Welcome everyone to Artist Antics with April, where we talk to creatives about creativity. And today I'm very excited to sit down with digital artist Christina Sahadeo. No, say it again.
Sahadeo.
Sahadeo. Thank you. Christina resides in Brooklyn, New York. She's a digital artist who uses composition of prose, imagery, and music to convey messages of awakening. Her passion is music and influences much of her work, especially her written word. She finds it imperative to express all facets of the human experience in a way that it would resonate with souls on a level of activation. And using her own unique soul's journey, she shares relatable emotions, thoughts, and memories to convey how connected we all are and to inspire in others to reach their highest potential. So, welcome, Christina. I'm so honored to talk to you today.
I'm so honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and really excited about this. You're merging two things that are very close to my heart, spirituality and art. So I'm really excited to get into this and find out, how things work for you and what inspires you. So what I've seen so far, really impressed with the high-end level of these videos that you've
Thank you.
created. I think that's what they're called. I mean, for the
Yeah.
lack of a better term, they're almost like short movies to me.
Yes.
And
Yes.
beautiful music. They have, wording that really is thoughtful and inspiring. So how did you get started, in creating digital art? I don't know how far back you wanna go, but I
Yeah.
would love to hear, like, what got you to where you are at in your creation now.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So this page specifically started 3 years ago. I had separated from a 10-year marriage and I was en route to, well, I was having difficulties with figuring out if I was going to get divorced or not. And writing has been my saving grace since I was a child. So I had to write. And I started this page as a way of releasing everything that was held inside of me. And in order to do that, I had to create a vision. And at that time, when I was going through so much turmoil in my personal life, the vision was very difficult to see. So if you go all the way back to the beginning of the page, it starts off as if it was a sheet of blank paper. And I would just write my words, which were beautiful on its own, but no music, no nothing. And then as time progressed on my healing journey, the color, if you go through it, the color starts to get added into my creation because I started to tap into my creativity and my vision. So at that point, I just started to develop into actual art. I wanted to express what I saw, what I felt, because it wasn't just catharsis anymore. I started to realize that people were seeking this. People were seeking someone who would talk about this particular level of their journey. And last year, I had an awakening on a very, very deep cellular level, like cellular. So I was like, okay, let's tap into the inner child. Let's deconstruct everything I've ever known. And after doing a massive amount of shadow work, if you look at the way my work is now compared to what it was at the beginning, it's an explosion. It's an explosion of color. It's an explosion of music. It's an explosion of artistry and prose that I have never tapped into before, on rather than when I was a child. That was the last time I ever remember ever being to that extent. So that is technically how this page started. I've always been a writer, always been into music, always been into vision, but this is me actually concisely going through step by step of my spiritual awakening journey.
Wow.
This page is testament to it.
That's awesome. I have so many things. I'm writing notes as you're talking, 'cause I feel like you just opened up so many avenues for us to go down.
Yeah.
Um, my first response to all of that is, during my divorce, ironically, that's when I started doing my art again as well, and it was like therapy for me. And
Yes.
it really does help to soothe and heal the soul. One of the art therapists that I spoke to recently in one of my other interviews was talking about how that happens, even if you're not an artist, that you need to get some of it out. And then once it stops becoming cathartic, like you said,
Yeah.
you start tapping into something and really getting excited about it. And,
Yep.
you know, uh, also, I have many awakenings and shadow work sessions that I've been through,
Yeah.
and I call it, the peeling of the onion, and the onion, there's never
Yes.
no layers, it's infinite. And every time you learn and grow and figure something out, then something new comes forward that
Yep.
because of that healing you didn't realize, so now you have that to work on. So it's
Yeah.
should be never ending learning and growing. And I say that all the time, make people laugh. I said, well, I'm learning and growing. That's what's happening today. And
Yeah.
so, and it's interesting that you talk about the way it flows to you, because I feel like with art or music or whatever it is, the art kind of finds you
Yes.
where you're at. So you have to be like an antenna to pull it in, right?
Mhm.
And take those ideas that are just floating by or in your head, or something obscure that you might have seen or heard, or that comes back into your consciousness that says, okay, this is something that you need to explore, right? So
Yep.
mm, but you have to be open to there. And I think it's interesting, most people that I've talked to have said that in order to get there, there had to be some cracking open or a pain of awakening to
Yes.
get to that spot. And I think
Yeah.
it's, whether it's the programming of our families, the society, our governments, whatever it is, um, we have to really start thinking past that in order to think differently, operate differently, show people there is a different way of living and existing and communicating and thriving.
Yeah.
So I just think it's awesome that that's how you came to it. I think
Yeah.
a lot of people who probably going to listen to us are, uh, in spots they don't want to be in, and
Yeah.
maybe don't even realize that creation in from themselves, no matter what it is. I don't care if it's stick figures or, you know,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be a Picasso or a
No.
Rembrandt, it could be anything that really um that you've wanted to do since you were a child. So whether that's music or just moving your body, it could be yoga or some kind of modality there that you really get into that helps you to move through and grow.
Yeah.
So really appreciate that, and that's amazing, because I didn't know that until you told me that just now. So that's awesome. So let me ask you, are you doing this full time, part time? What is the professional lane for this that you've
Yeah.
had so far? Yeah.
So, since I started this journey 3 years ago, I recognize that the corporate job that I do have, which I do love, because it does use a lot of my keen abilities. It no longer resonates. Like it no longer resonates. This is truly my full time without actually being full time. I actually put my corporate job on the side. I put that as a part-time, which is which is very shocking to most people, but that's of no consequence anymore. I've since learned that the universe provides when you open yourself to abundance, and that can look in any form. It does not have to be monetary, nor does it need to be monetary.
That's
It's
right.
what you're being filled with.
That's right.
And so I was guided to actually go to part-time. I was shocked that it worked because they don't offer part-time. And but they provided it to me. And that's been a blessing because as soon as that happened, that's when a trigger went off. And a lot of my content are truthfully channeled. They're all channels from the universe, from the divine. I have to craft it in my particular way. It has to be put out there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Every structure, every word, everything is done. So when I say that it's going to be full time, I don't know when, I don't know how, maybe this is the catalyst, but it's going to be full time. I want it to be full time. This gives my life so much presence.
Yeah.
It gives me presence. And to see people being uplifted, that's my job. That's my job. To heal is my job.
Oh, it's so beautiful. You're gonna make me cry.
I know, me too.
Congratulations to you. And I
Thank
think,
you.
to a lot of people, taking that leap to financially take a risk,
Yeah,
to go part-time, whether you're able to or not. Some
yeah,
people do it regardless, or some
yeah,
people jump all in full time.
yeah,
One of the art photographers I talked to, he just, decided one day to quit his corporate job, even though it was very lucrative, and said, "No,
yeah,
I'm not doing this anymore." And
yeah.
um, rearranged some things and retired early so he
Wow.
could, do this. And it's really been fruitful for him as well. So, um, what is in general, what is your, without giving away your secrets, which I don't know that we could get because they're coming to you directly. Um, what is your process in creating video, like from the initial idea to the end, video, the end cut? What does that look like? What are the steps? How do you flow
Yep.
through?
I have no problems discussing that. So what I will say is the actual creation process can just take a few hours. Now, the actual process itself to get there to the message, that's where the in-depth work goes. I do a deep dive. And it really has to do with my day to day. I start the day as soon as I open my eyes with gratitude, because I have to. It's your welcoming in positive energy and also opening yourself to the universe to say, I'm open. I'm grateful for what I have. Please flow to me. So as you've said, an antenna. And so once you open yourself, that opens avenues. And then I will start my day with giving thanks and prayers to the universe, ask for guidance, and mainly to my ancestors. I do have to mention them. My ancestors were very creative. They came from India. Um, they were part of colonization. So a lot of my work is freeing them and freeing myself from the confines of everything this society has put on us. So once I start my day that way, it's an antenna, like you said. And basically, the flow will start to come in. And what it is I truly am a shadow worker. Like every minute, second, hour, something comes up that I need to delve deeper into because I am cleansing myself. So as that happens, it could be a word, I could hear a conversation, it could be another writer's work, or just something I saw. And it will, because I'm clearing myself, it will go so deep down into me that it
Mm,
will trigger something that must come up from the subconscious. And when that comes up, I will cry, I will journal, I will sometimes, honestly, sometimes it's very painful. I will scream it out, whatever I need to do. It is a laborious process. Like I'm very glad that I'm able to speak about it because what seems to happen in mere seconds is so intense. It's just so, so intense. And it's like reconstructing your DNA. And the moment that that happens, I start to get the vision. It's like, is this going to be a video? Is this going to be a slide? Like, what is it going to be? And
Right.
it has to go with the feeling that I have in my heart, in my soul. Like, this message needs to go out now. We're going to do the slides. We're going to do that.
Right.
And I have editing tools to accommodate for both, because the videos take a little longer and I'm very specific with my vision. Now, once I start to do that, the poem usually comes out first because I call them lyrics. It's truly the song of my soul. So I construct the poem in a way that's kind of like a précis because there's so much to say. But I just bring it down concisely to what must be conveyed to the masses, what must they hear, what will bring my energy, what is my particular coding that I'm putting into this that will cause activation for other souls seeking this. So the poem's usually done. That's done after I went through the whole rigmarole.
Yeah.
And then constructing it, I get the visions of what I'm supposed to see. They pull upon memory or from the visions I see myself, and I construct it into a video or into a slide. And then I use my editing tools to bring it down into something that's easily accessible to others because delivery is extremely important. I believe in presentation. But I will say timing, the structure of the words, and I like to play around not just with words, but their positioning. Everything is guided, like literally guided. And it's been a blessing to co-create with Divine in that way. Um, and then when I'm done with it, because this is a process in itself, it's not just a message for others and what I've been through. It's a message for me. I find myself going back several times looking at my work and I'll notice the positioning or I'll notice the way that I did something. And I was like, why did I do it that way? And it's revealed to me why. So when people reach out to me about my work, I'm always like deeply in awe. I was like, well, what did you see? Tell me because I want to talk about what I saw too. Like it's this whole process and it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. Like you can look at it and be like, oh, this is nice. But then for someone who's actually sat there and went through this process, it's like, what is happening? Like this
Yeah.
is just awe inspiring.
Yeah. No, that is amazing. And again, all so many things that I want
Yeah.
to unpack there. Um, I want to start with daily practice, which we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's so very important. You
Yes.
can't, I feel like you have to start your day there and end your day there.
Yes.
Even if I don't have time and I have to rush for some reason, I try not to, but
Yeah.
every once in a while you can't help it.
Yeah.
Have to rush to go somewhere in the morning. I try to do it in my drive if I don't have time.
Yeah.
But gratitude is key. And I'm with you 1,000% there. If you wake up with gratitude, no matter what situation you're in, whether you
Yes.
have good or bad health, whether you have a good or bad relationship, whether
Yeah.
you have a good or bad job, a good or bad living situation, um, there is something you can be grateful for. Just opening your eyes that day is
Yes.
gratitude enough. So I want that message to come across to everyone. So thank you for that. And
Absolutely.
going through it, I think the spiritual growth what I always say, it's not for sissies.
No.
You
It's
have
an
to,
exorcism. It's an
yeah, you
exorcism.
have to be able to, be vulnerable to explore and within yourself,
Yeah.
knowing thyself is the key to knowing God in my, humble, estimation so far. But,
Agreed.
like I
Agreed.
talked to you a little bit before we got started, that onion, there never is an end to the layers that are shed. So
Yeah.
I think, receiving those things, those lessons, those um situations that change you on the inside, and then wanting to share so that you can help somebody who might be going through it to
Yeah.
understand what's happening to them and why, and what I feel is lighting the path a little bit for them,
Yes.
your ancestors and guides and the Holy Spirit is helping you to
Yes.
receive that and go through it, and they trust that you're strong enough to be able to bear it. And then
Yeah.
once you do, you say, okay, how can I help other people through this? Because that was a lot for me who is grounded and spiritual. I can't imagine what it is for someone who is not. So
Yeah.
having your faith and your spirituality and your trust in yourself is key to getting
Yes.
through almost all of life. But when people don't have that, um, they're lost and spiral in some of these situations. But delivering that too, you know, uh, and to your point, I've been upset and cried and had emotional moments in
Yeah.
painting where something is coming through me while I'm doing that. And
Yeah.
um, I'm either releasing it or bringing it out to put it on the canvas. I'm not sure what's actually happening in that moment, but
Yeah.
uh I can really relate with that. It doesn't always have to be um extremely hard to bear. I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
it just depends on what it is. There's some that are, and there's some that are completely easy and come right out, and you're like, okay, I don't know where
Yeah.
that came from, and it's wonderful. Okay, bring me
Exactly.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it's great that you can tap in order to help you build your creation, and it's kind of very similar to what I try to do with my art. So that's great.
Beautiful.
So, have you found projects that are being used out in the world right now?
Uh, like projects like what I'm working on, or similar projects?
No, I'm just saying, like, for some of your videos, has
Yeah.
anybody asked you to do a custom one, or have
Oh,
you have they used your video and asked you to create or to utilize it for their conference or
so
employees or whatever? Yeah.
not as yet, not as yet, but that is all the more reason for me to keep going.
Yeah.
Basically, that is the goal. Truthfully, I want to work with other artists and musicians, because music is such a strong factor in what I create. Music is what truly invokes this entire experience. So the goal is to work with musicians and work with other artists to bring it to that front. So I am working on promoting myself more.
Okay.
But there was an instance where I had a deeply profound spiritual experience, and I made a video called Sunrise Sunset. And it goes through all the Hindu gods and goddesses. And it was just very emotional filled because I experienced a very deep resonance with myself and my ancestors. And I literally cried making that video. But the song that I used, Gari Ramo, um had recently just came out, and it was came out around Navratri, which is celebration of the Divine Mother. And I wanted to get that out. Like, I wanted to honor the deities, my ancestors. I wanted to get it out. I had to. And I linked the song, and producer, Sursagar Music, they actually reached out and they were open to collaborating, like putting themselves as a collaborator on the video. So that honestly made me extremely happy to know it was like divine kind of nudging me, like, you're in the right direction. Just keep going. This is where you want to go. Just keep going. So that's what I've been doing. I'm just truly going on blind faith and unwavering faith, and just I know it's going to lead me where I need to go.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. I
Thank you.
think, I fully believe in the fact that we are, right now, many of us are helping to, I'm trying to think of the right words, helping to go through our ancestry lineage karma,
Yeah.
and helping to transmute that And I think
Yes.
that it's stopping with us and that we are transmuting it and they're behind us helping that
Yes.
along. So I really think that that's amazing.
Thank
So
you.
um what's your favorite creation story to date? Do you have one that's funny, like meaningful, ambitious, like anything you want to share?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. So I have a few that I really like, but if when I finish a piece and it makes me say wow, that's that's the one that resonates with me. And I think my favorite so far is the one that I used with Sia's song, the marriage between heart and mind.
Yep.
I'm actually talking about the grand scheme, like the entire grand scheme. I don't even know if anyone really knows what I'm talking about in there, but I could
I
use it.
do.
Thank you. Thank you.
But I have to say I still have a conflict, but go ahead.
No, no, I totally get it. It was the message was meant to be delivered in that way, but there's so much more going on in there. So
Yeah.
I left it. It's like an Easter egg that I left, and I knew it could either be a bomb or it could be not. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at this point. It's if it's making you think, that was the point. That's the whole
Mm,
point of being an artist. So I love that creation. The funny thing is this one I waited on. I had it ready. I had the poem ready, the vision. I just had to put it together, and for some reason I was like, well, let's do it, and they're like, no, not now. I was like, what do you mean we're done? So I was like, no, not now. I was like, okay. And then I finally got the green light when a writer that I follow who is phenomenal, he posted a chess piece which took on a bit of a darker undertone, but asking divine to guide during this time, and may those that are against him, face judgment, essentially, which I totally get. My message was alternatively different, but very similar, that we
mm.
are being led on particular things, and I have so much more behind that. But I was like, oh, okay, game time. So that's when I put everything together, and I actually convened with him that I had to do this piece as well, and it was an amazing light soul connection. But then I put it out there, and I was like, this is it. Like I loved it. I even loved how from the start to the middle to the end, I loved how it turned out. And when I say that, it's because I'm not doing it myself. It's like it is me. I'm
Yeah.
totally putting myself, investing everything, but the universe is conspiring with me.
Mm.
And I think when you use AI, you see that a lot more. I mean, of course, artists who have that free flow, it's just you give you a pen, a paintbrush, and it just starts flowing. It feels the same for me with AI. It's like I just put in my vision, and when it pops up, I'm just like, what is happening? Like, how did this even happen? And then I just edit and I cut in different ways. And it's just shocking to me. It's just
Yeah.
shocking how any medium is used to really convey the message. It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's funny you're talking about AI because that was my next question
Yeah.
is, I've been asking everybody in all my interviews about AI.
Yeah.
Here is my personal opinion on it that,
Yeah.
it's there as a tool, like any tool can help you, to create better and faster. So
Yeah.
why not use it? Some people think it's not art or it's not being creative, but you
Mhm.
still have to know what to ask it and have a vision of what you're doing in order to put it together. There's still a humanistic side to it. So
Yep.
I think that if you're not using AI in anything that you're doing, really, job, personal, art, whatever it is, that you're going to be left behind eventually because that's where everything's going,
Yeah.
in our world. It's a paradigm shift for everyone.
Yeah.
And it actually excites me. Some creatives are like really down on it, that it has to be um something you do originally from a human. But, I don't feel that way. I feel like it is really there to help us to create more, create more faster than we ever had before, um, and create something that, would take us possibly forever to put together in a very short time, but also ideas that we might not have thought of that kind of coincide with what we're doing. So, that's great. I think, if you have a AI, generator to help you
Mhm.
get your message out, I don't see a problem with it at all, and I think everybody should be using it. So, I don't know how you feel about that, but those are my
So
thoughts.
I do have thoughts on it, and I actually do empathize with artists who, take their time, have honed their skill, and really create from the heart using whatever canvas is available to them. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about musicians, artists, and anything
Yep.
that you do, that you use your tangible hands. And there's what I will say is it comes from a place of lack, and I'm not talking about just them. I'm talking about people who actually do rely on other areas. Sometimes you feel like you're lacking, oh well, I'm not really creating art. Like there's two sides of the coin. But what I will say as I've been on this spiritual journey is it's a perspective shift. Because God forbid anyone told the ancient Egyptians or Mesopotamians, your advancement in technology is crap. You should be doing it this way. Um, I'm sorry, but they were kind of tapped in. That's all I'm trying
Yeah,
to say.
they were. Yeah.
So,
Way
but
more
the
than we ever thought, I think, but go
oh,
ahead.
yes, and I've been reading up on that actually. But but the thing is that why can't it all coexist? They coexist in a particular way because your soul knows it is an intricately coded. It knows what it's supposed to utilize, and it does not say you have to get rid of one to have the other. They are able to coexist. Every soul knows where it's supposed to progress. And guess what? Soul evolution, transformation. We are not going to stay here. AI is going to be obsolete at some point. Something new is coming in. Okay. It's how you adjust to it. And mind you, even though I'm doing this in this platform, I am going to branch out in various other areas with various other medium, because art is practice. Art
Yes.
is continuously practicing with
Ooh,
something new, something different,
yep.
finding community and growing it. So when I say place of lack, it's we're still stuck to the matrix ideology that it's just this and we can only do this. But when we open ourselves to a different perspective shift, you start to see limitless possibilities. And you do not have to change, but you do have to be open. And it has less to do about moving with technology, and it
Yeah,
has more to do with how do you allow the codes to be accessed to you.
yeah.
So if I'm into AI, you could put in whatever words you want. And I know people will say that it's predetermined. There's certain things in algorithms. That's all I'm gonna say. That there are
Oh, yes.
there
I know what you're saying, and I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like energy systems everywhere. So just be open. Just be
Yeah,
open.
for sure, and, to your point, the the computer, the internet replaced the typewriter,
Yeah,
um, the email replaced snail mail, and,
yeah,
now we're, instead of browsing, with our browsers, we're now have AI that's a little more
yeah,
specific about helping us find things quicker and easier. It's not replacing anything, it's just helping us to be more efficient and more creative in my mind.
yeah.
But just like with anything else, it has a double-edged sword, and I
Yes.
think, you just have to be mindful of that to your other point. But so what inspires you right now? Well, like, where are you getting inspiration from? Is it a specific, like, channel, specific venue, specific type of art,
Yeah.
movies, music, like who or what is inspiring you right now?
um, Other than my connection that I've tapped in with myself, because this is truly my self-discovery, rediscovering myself and who I am. It's tapping into my own wealth of wisdom from my higher self is truly what it is. But because I have been doing that, I have been attracting like souls. So who and what truly inspires me are other peers. Honestly, other artists that I have been seeing just writing their feelings, different types of artwork. Like I just recently saw an artist who does where you burn wood, and it's like this whole entire I think that's amazing, like so skilled. Like I was shocked. I was like,
Yeah.
that's so cool.
Yeah, I've
But
seen that.
it's yeah, it's just like it's just this openness to express and really show just the human the soul's creativity, and that you're able to use the natural elements, everything around you. That's what I truly find inspiring. If I have to say what does inspire me, it is nature itself, though. It's in a lot of my work. I have to incorporate nature in everything that I do. It's usually always blossoming, always very green. Water is extremely important to me. That's free flow. And I think the natural elements are very resonant in my work. But yeah, peers.
Yeah,
My peers are basically who inspires me, and a collection of music and film, but music is my largest inspiration. I would have
got
to
it.
say that.
Ye
That's why it's incorporated so deeply into my work.
Yep. No, great, and I agree with you 100% about nature. Try to get out into it as much as I can.
Yeah.
I even do, grounding with my feet on the ground and, take my dog for many walks, every day,
Yeah.
and, it's true, just watching the water, being quiet, quieting your mind, and just
Yes.
observing the trees, the leaves, the birds, what's
Yeah.
happening, right then and there, what you're able to hear and what's not heard, in the silence, there's some things that come too. So,
Yes.
um, and that makes sense because, Earth is about creation, nature is about creation. We are
Yeah.
both trying to be creative. So, what better way to get inspired or get what I call a nature bath
Yeah.
than to go out into nature and it helps to cleanse you. It helps to
Yeah.
set your mind straight. So,
Absolutely.
that's awesome, amazing. So, last question,
Yeah.
where would you like to see creativity go in the future? Like, if you had all the wishes in the world, what would that look like? You know, is it community? Is it, a school? Is it,
Mm.
where you would like art to go? How would
Yeah.
you like art, to be exposed to the masses? Like, do you have any ideas there on what
Yeah.
you would like to see in the future?
Yeah. This actually plays into what I feel is collectively happening right now. Uh, what we're seeing is a lot of people being called to embrace their soul's true calling. And you're going to see more art. You're going to hear more music. You're going to just see an explosion happening. And what this is laying the foundations for a better, let me not say that, an advancement to our society. Let's put it that way. It's deconstructing everything that's old so that way we can make new for a free flowing new. Now, that does not mean that structure is not going to be present, it has to be.
Yeah.
But the thing is that we've been too restricted and confined for very long. And what's happening now is we are rising up in a sense of expression to really show our hearts and souls what it is to be human, why we are here in the first place. So it's not just a small, tiny thing for me. I truly see that within the next what 100 years or so, we're not going to look the same way that we used to. It's going to be a lot more advanced. We're going to be more integrated with nature because, as much as people would say we're killing the earth, she's not going anywhere. She's just shifting us. She's like, come on, get on the boat. Everybody get it together. Let's clean it up. Let's hash it out. Let's get our
Yeah.
energy right.
Yeah.
Um, and we're going to look different. Our world is going to look different. It's going to incorporate art into everything. We're just going to integrate more with the way things were naturally supposed to be. I guess you could think of the movie Avatar. If you we wanted to.
Yeah.
These movies, they don't come out of nowhere.
Yes.
So,
No, I
so
get it. Yeah,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
feel the same way about The Matrix as well.
yeah,
It's all about, us learning that we are here in this, if you wanna call it a hologram. I don't know, different
yeah,
beliefs there, but
yeah,
we are creating our experience and we
yeah,
are together creating our experiences. And
yeah,
together we need to come up with the solution to move forward. And I also agree that the earth is going to require us to do that.
yep,
There's a finite point of us being destructive and selfish, and
yeah,
now we have to start to really work together to make sure we don't destroy the thing that is keeping us alive. So
yeah.
um thank you so much for your time
Thank you.
today. I could talk to you forever. I
Me
know
too.
I feel like we're kindred souls. I really appreciate that,
I
and
do too.
really enjoyed our conversation. I know there's more to talk about, but maybe we'll have a part 2.
Yeah,
But to everybody in the audience, I'm going to provide Christina's Instagram handle and her email in case you want to get a hold of her.
yeah.
And thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, April. Thank you. Bye.
If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Feel free to nominate yourself or someone you know as our next guest. Thank you for being a part of our creative community. Stay inspired and keep shining bright.